VictoriBelle. Yes, diamonds on my neck. Yes, I'm fabulous. They keep hating on me, I don't stress. Don't got time for this, cause I'm fabulous. Capiche? Big hair, high heels, and the flow jacket.
Ladies and gentlemen, hopefully this is the last time that you'll be hearing this theme music on this podcast. Welcome to the Game Changer. I am indeed Nate the effing Great, and I'm being joined here by a very, very special guest, ladies and gentlemen. He is 1/3 of Rant with Ant. He is 1/3 of the Who Got Next podcast. He is 1/3 of the best trio, best podcast of the year, as voted on by Wrestle Hub. He is indeed the one, the only, the fantastic, hashtag bad take, Mr. Phillium. Welcome to the show, good sir.
Fabulous. Yes. Are you trying to get in my pants already?
I always try to leave like a really good impression with like the first interview that I usually have when people come on. And there was a part of me that thought I could go down a different route for this, but then I thought, no, I have to go the Carmella route because
you gotta go the Carmella route, man.
You are the majorest of major Carmella marks ever since she won the title. Even beyond that.
It is the truth. It is the truth.
Oh my gosh. But yeah, honestly, it's really good to have you on the show. I definitely had, people like Ant, the King's Ring podcast on here. Definitely wanted to have you on, especially after we met up at All In this past September, because I keep saying this, and I will always keep saying this, that you and Ant definitely were the two guys that really made me feel like, this was, that the wrestling community on Twitter and online, social media, was indeed like a family. Like, the first time I saw you guys, you just came up to me, you gave me a couple of, hugs, and you gave me, like, the biggest hug I think I'd ever expect from a wrestling fan. I'm like, holy cow, this is my family, this is my people, holy cow, I love this, I want more of this, please.
I mean, that's what, me and Ann and Issa and G-Rod, that's what we always pride ourselves with, and that's what we try to kind of showcase with these events that we throw and stuff like that is, I was just a wrestling fan a few years ago, and I, Ant was super nice to me, and then we became friends, and he invited me to be a part of Rant with Ant, so I never forget that, there may be people that listen to shows that I'm a part of, and, I'm very grateful for that, but I feel like one of the fans and one of the listeners still, right, I'll never forget where I came from, so it's like, whether it's meeting you or whether it's meeting anybody, we try to make people feel as comfortable as possible, because a few years ago, I didn't have any wrestling fans, or not wrestling fans, wrestling friends, and, now, I still don't really have wrestling fans, but a few years ago, I didn't have any wrestling friends, and now I have a ton of them, so, we try to help people out there who feel like they may be alone in loving this thing that we all love, so it's one of the proudest things we do, really.
It is honestly one of the best things is, when you guys go get a chance, give Rant with It a follow. Be sure to also give Mr. Phil a follow, Anthony, as well as Issa, my arch nemesis, Demon Diva. Trust me, I could talk loads and loads about why that's still the case right now, even going into 2019. But this is not talking about the bad things that have happened. This is more talking about the good things. And one of the best things that you guys did happened a couple nights ago. And I got so many questions I still have to ask about this. You guys do this annual deal called the Golden Mic Awards, where you basically talk about some of the best of 2018. You have the fans vote on what they believe were some of the best of certain categories. And, I mean, honestly, it was one of the best things there because you have so many things that you talked about. Best matches, the most shocking, best stood out superstars, breakout stars. That's always really cool to see that. So, let me ask this. What kind of got, this, I guess, program started with the Golden Mic Awards? Where did this kind of, stem up from? Was it kind of like a parody of like the Slammies at first, or was this one of those things where you guys legitimately were like, you know what, we definitely need to outdo the Slammies?
Well, so I think, what it essentially is, it's our way to kind of remember the year, right? I think that with a lot of these award shows that happen, whether it be the Slammies or just really other podcast awards, they tend to focus on one thing. So with a lot of wrestling podcasts, it ends up being WWE heavy, right? And if you think of someone like G-Rod, who, you know, was a co-host with Rant since the beginning, you know, a lot of wrestling fans watch wrestling outside of WWE. So with the Golden Mics, we try to really give the chance to the audience to like vote who they really thought was the best, right? With categories like best superstar outside of WWE, I think that's very important. And with doing stuff like, you know, for Superstar of the Year, we had Tessa Blanchard in there. We try to give a mixture of having women and men in there because, you know, a lot of people I personally love women's wrestling the best right now. That's my favorite thing. So I'm more inclined to vote for the women's superstars in categories like that. And with all that being said, we also try to have fun, right? I think the big thing with Rant with Ant and all the shows that are kind of attached to us is we try to have the most fun possible because no one's going to want to listen if we're just, you know, we're not Sports Center, and I've always said this, right, to kind of draw the comparison to ESPN, right, to feel like it's the easiest way. You know, we don't want to just give you the news verbatim and be like, and that's what we think. No, we want to show you our personality. So stuff like in the beginning of this podcast, you play Carmella. I'm known as the Carmella guy. Ant's known as the Nikki Bella guy. Issa with Brock Lesnar, and it's like we pride ourselves in that and having fun, and that's what I think is at the core of what the Golden Mics is, giving you who we thought were the best. And, you know, telling you who you guys voted for the best, but also having a lot of fun with it.
No, definitely. It's really cool to see that because I know that there's a lot of, you know, podcasts out there that have, you know, like there's certain gimmicks and they have their certain, you know, ways that they present a lot of these deals. But yeah, you guys are definitely, you know, as real can get. And that I always respect about you guys because you're definitely, you know, earn every single bit of accolades and every single accomplishment that you've earned this year. And again, I have to say this. I said this when I talked to Ant, and I'll say this to you. Congratulations on winning those awards with Wrestling Hub. That was very well deserved.
One of the coolest things, man. Like it's, you know, it's weird because, you know, we do this podcast and we talk to you guys all the time. The people who listen to us, we consider you guys our friends more than listeners, right? So we hear within the circle how much you guys are enjoying what we do, but it's really, for the most part, like for someone like me, it's like, oh, it's just friends complimenting friends. But to get kind of recognized on a different level with the Wrestle Hub Awards, it's super humbling and it's awesome. You know, the many late nights, you know, I barely sleep and, you know, it's sick. We record sick. We do all this stuff. You know, being a part of the show for almost 2 years now, you know, you definitely go through a lot. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about with having your own podcast. It gets rough at times, but it's awesome to get that kind of recognition and that love.
Yeah, every day that they do not use Glorious Bobby Roode the way that he should be, it's always like a stake to the heart, and it sucks for me. That's the main issue I have right now.
Not for me, because if you know, I am not a fan of that.
So, yeah, it affects you not.
I'm good. I'm all right.
As long as they don't bury my girl Carmella, we're good.
I'm fine with that, man.
Or
when she was a champion, bro, it's all good now. Everything else is just like icing on top of the cake. She won Money in the Bank. I thought they were going to take it away from her. They didn't. They let her keep it, and she won the belt, and she beat Asuka twice. What else could I want in this lifetime? Maybe her beating Sasha Banks. That would be like, that's just asking for too much at that point.
Maybe less James Ellsworth, because that was...
we don't have to worry about him no more. We're good now.
This is true.
He got himself in trouble. He'll never come back.
This is true. I will tell you this. I mentioned this on my podcast with my co-host VictoriBelle, was that was the closest I've ever gone to a wrestling event, and I almost literally walked out. I said to my friends, okay, if that's James Ellsworth underneath that, you know, Asuka deal, I will literally walk out. And my friend's like, no, you're not. No, you're not. As soon as James Ellsworth come out, I'm like, are you kidding me? And then Carmella... It's one
of those things, right?
It added
by any means necessary. Like, I want my favorites to win by any means necessary. And I understand if people aren't fans of Carmella and Asuka may be their favorites, you know, shout out Cody Repass, you know, that must have been hell. See James Ellsworth be the reason that your favorite doesn't win. I get it. I understand it. But like I said, it's the reason my favorite one, so I'm good. Whatever.
Yeah, I just saw that. And then that insult to injury was the super kick to Asuka and the 1, 2, 3. And I'm like, I'm done. I walked out. My friends are both just like, oh shit, is he actually walking out? Oh jeez, go after him. They finally calmed me down.
I'm screaming in my house watching this live, being so happy.
Yeah, I was screaming just internally, and every single bit of my soul was just saying, "No!" It's like the end of
That's right, man. Because now Asuka's champion. It all comes full circle, man. Our favorites win, our favorites lose, but it's always the fun ride to make fun of your friends when their favorites lose and stuff like that. It's awesome.
It's really weird because I think I mentioned this on a podcast a while back when I talked about how when it comes to big events, the women main evented the first big show of the year, and they ended with the big show of the year. But I also realized something that I didn't know until today, that it started with Asuka and it ended with Asuka. 2018, whether we want to believe it or not, was the year of Asuka, just for that theory alone.
Now, if only in 2019 they give her some type of character other than she's the Empress of Tomorrow and like she's a great wrestler, then 2019 would be her year too.
Yeah, just give her like the character that she had in NXT when she was battling Ember Moon. That was awesome.
Just give her a promo video similar to what they did with Finn Balor when they said, this is why he dresses up like a demon every once in a while. Then his character makes sense, right? Asuka's an incredible wrestler. I'll never take that away from her, but just saying, oh my god, it's Asuka isn't enough for me. Give me a video reason. Let her cut a promo saying, this is why I call myself the Empress of Tomorrow. This is this. Because I didn't watch her when she was in Japan. I saw her for the first time in NXT, and they didn't even give her that backstory then. Her whole character in NXT was she was undefeated. So it's like, give me something else. Unless, listen, I know I'm a hypocrite because Bianca Belair is undefeated right now, and she's my favorite in NXT. But we've gotten backstory for Bianca Belair explaining like her upbringing and stuff like that. That's always been my only issue with Asuka.
Yeah, it's always good to get invested in somebody, especially when they have a backstory. That goes for like anything, wrestling, movies. You want to get invested because there's some kind of backstory to it. That's basically what Infinity War was, this year, was the fact that they had an incredible backstory. They've been building up, who these characters are, what they're trying to accomplish, and what the end result was going to be. And of course, that ended up with a amazing trailer called Avengers Endgame, and I'm just literally thinking, God help me, I don't think I can handle so much more emotion in my Marvel universe. But that's just me.
Just one more. We just got one more movie to get through, man.
That's right.
It's going to be one of those things we all like. See, but here's my biggest fear with Endgame, right? Is
Okay.
like I'm very fair when I go to the movies, right?
Mm-hmm.
I liked Justice League for what it was. I know a lot of people hated it. I can go watch a bad movie and enjoy it. That's just me. But I feel like with Infinity War having so much hype and affecting people so much, like one of the greatest, if not the greatest, superhero movie ever made, right? So will Endgame live up to that? Will the ending of the story be as good as what a lot of people call the Empire Strikes Back of superhero movies? So I guess we'll wait and see.
Yeah, no, definitely. And one other thing that I definitely wanted to talk to you about, because I do remember us talking about this in the chat, that we were definitely going to give our thoughts on Aquaman. I gave my thoughts on it on a recent episode, but yeah, you've definitely been a big advocate for how amazing Aquaman is. And I'm just going to tell you this right now, and please, for the love of God, do not hate me for it. I actually fell asleep through like a third of the movie, not because it was bad, but because I was so exhausted from working. I literally worked a theater job, and I just thought to myself, okay, this is going to work out nicely. I work the theater job, then right immediately after, I can just go straight in to see Aquaman. And I was just so exhausted that I could not see, the entire thing. I'm planning on seeing it, whether it's on like Monday or Tuesday, sometime in the new year. See it in full, so that way I can give it, incredible justice, because you definitely made it, and a lot of people have made it like, oh man, it's really awesome. Jason Momoa is amazing. I definitely say like him and Roman Reigns kind of have like similar builds.
They're long lost brothers. I'm sure if Jason Momoa was a wrestler, he'd be claiming that he's related to The Rock.
Honest to God, I kind of want Roman Reigns to come back, and the first words to come out of his mouth is just him looking to the audience and just saying, "Permission to come aboard." And just hearing all the girls just screaming, like, "Oh my God!"
All the girls and me.
So, oh my gosh! If he seriously did that, I think the internet would break, not only with laughter, but also like, "What the fuck? Is he trying to be Aquaman?" It's like,
like what's going on?
It works.
So my thing with Aquaman is, right, and it's okay. As someone who barely sleeps because of his job, I get it. Things happen, you fall asleep. Now, what I keep telling people is, and shout out to Carrie for kind of, because she got to see it first because she lives in the UK. So she was saying how it's very similar to Man of Steel, right? So it's very slow in the beginning because it's giving you a ton of backstory. It's kind of giving the characters weight. And then in the third act, it goes crazy, and it's one of the best third acts of any superhero film ever. That's why I love this so much. And I am a Jason Momoa fanboy, right? I fell in love with him during Game of Thrones as Khal Drogo. He was my favorite character. So it's like I was going into this, like there was no way I wasn't going to like this movie. It had its issues. It wasn't a perfect movie. That's why when I did my top 10 list, it was number 4 for me because I felt like there were some issues that kind of knocked it down for me. But I thought it was a great movie. It did what I think I want superhero movies to do. And I know that's different for everybody, but for me, just get me hype at the end. Get me to the point where, like, if the superhero loses, I'd be, like, physically upset and be, like, angry, right? Get me to that point. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what the movie did. It really gave him more character work and set up for them to do sequels. And that was really awesome. It had 2 good villains, right? I thought 2 great villains, in all honesty. Mira was awesome, right? As a female character, she was awesome. She was just as strong as him, and she was a badass. That was great. And Aquaman's mom was a badass. There were so many good parts of this movie. And then it had that one hype moment where, you know, he comes up the waterfall in the classic Aquaman gear, and it's like, that's all I really want from these superhero movies, is get me hype and leave me hype, and that's what it did. Yeah, no,
I was actually, I do remember that was one of those moments I did stay awake through, because I had a feeling that, you know, when they were going to have the reuniting scene between, you know, mother and son, I thought to myself, I'm going to cry, and sure enough, you see Jason Momoa and Nicole Kidman, they reunited. I'm like, yep, here come the waterworks. I know the build-up for this. Oh, damn it, this is so good.
And that's the thing, you have to, I feel like a lot of people, you know, with wrestling and movies and really with a lot of fandoms nowadays, is they forget to let themselves get lost. Like, obviously, his mom wasn't dead. And obviously, they were teasing this reunion between her and her son, and then eventually her and her husband. Like, they were teasing it for so long. But just because we know it's coming doesn't mean we should not get lost in it, right? And I think that's what a lot of wrestling fans really have trouble with doing with social media and all this stuff. You know, we get too into our heads. Like, yeah, we understand that, you know, a certain character, like, we get that Becky Lynch is going to win the title back eventually, right? So, right. But go for the ride. Don't expect it to happen next week. Sit back and enjoy this storyline that they're going to tell us to why Becky Lynch gets the belt back. And I think that's very similar to Aquaman, why people are like, oh, it was too predictable. Well, because we've seen everything a million times. Like, let's be real here.
I think I'm one of those people when it comes to movies that, you know, I know when something is coming, but at the same time, I am for the ride. I am definitely for the deal where it's like, you know, I'm just going to enjoy this. I'm going to enjoy it. Like, all the, you know, speed bumps that might happen along the way. Eventually, it's going to end with the ultimate payoff of course, you know, as you said, that ultimate reward, whether it's, you know, Aquaman and his mom reuniting, or Becky Lynch winning the title, which we probably will see at WrestleMania. I mean, my God, please, for the love of God, let it be Ronda Rousey versus Becky Lynch in the main event.
And add Charlotte to that. I think that, you know, I was firm in the sand. Like, I want Ronda versus Charlotte in the main event of Mania. That's what I want. And then Becky Lynch came out of nowhere, being one of the most popular women's wrestlers of all time. And she's, you know, I was actually looking at the picture of her in the crowd, and I was telling my fiance that this is going to be a picture that's going to be showed for generations. Like Austin's 316 speech, they always talk about it. They always show us the clip, right? I think that the Becky picture is going to be shown as like, this is when the women's revolution really happened. This is when they started being taken serious, and this is when they really were equal to the men, if not better in a lot of ways. And I think that now, because of that, give me Becky versus Ronda versus Charlotte to really see who is the face of the entire wrestling world when it comes to women's wrestling. I think that'd be great. And then Ronda cannot lose, Charlotte cannot, whoever, someone else could take the pin. It doesn't have to be something crazy. And then they could take that and build off of it into kind of a singles feud and have the person who takes the pin kind of go to another brand or something like that. So I think it'd be hype if it was them three.
Yeah, I think that's honestly a really good way of booking that. And honestly, I will say this, that start of the year, Ronda Rousey making her debut at Rumble, doing the whole point at the sign. Everybody already thought, oh, great, she's going to be a stupid character. Then we started seeing her at the, I think it was at Elimination Chamber, when she did the table spot with Triple H, which, honest to God, is still one of my favorite moments of the year, is just seeing a Triple H just getting thrown to a table. It's like, dude, you just got China'd. Oh! And then, of course, we got to see the WrestleMania match, which everybody thought, oh, this is going to suck because you got Stephanie, who's barely a wrestler, Kurt Angle, and Triple H, they're washed up. So Ronda, oh gosh, she's a newbie. She's going to have to carry this match if this is not going to end well. And then after the match, we're all just like, what did we just watch?
It was the match of the night. A lot of people call it the match of the night. To me, it was the match of the night. It was between that and Charlotte and Asuka. So it's like Rousey has everything it takes to be a huge star in this company, but she is still learning. She didn't go to NXT. She didn't, take 6 months to a year to learn. Like, she's learning now. She's learning on the job. And we see the girl that wrestled at Wrestlemania and the girl that just wrestled Nia Jax at TLC, how far she's come along. And it gets me super excited to see what she could do with a Becky Lynch, right? With Charlotte with more time, with an Asuka or Sasha Banks or something like that. So there's a lot of potential to just how great Ronda Rousey is, because the biggest fear was, is she just going to be one of these celebrities that come in and they don't amount to anything? Or is she going to be Kurt Angle? And she's so far, it looks like she's going to be more Kurt Angle.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that. I think the only thing that I would complain about is maybe sometimes how she applies the armbar does not always
look that. It's the worst.
It is kind of one of the worst looking arm bars. I mean, honestly, when we had that deal with Alexa Bliss and Ronda Rousey, I think some of us were hoping, well, I mean, Alexa Bliss, she's double jointed, and maybe we'll get a deal where she actually looks like she's wrecking Alexa Bliss's arm, and she's literally looking like she's going to just tear it apart. But we're just like, oh god, it's horrible, it's horrible. Wait, Alexa Bliss is double jointed. Okay, there's still some standpoint, but that still looks like a good spot.
In the same company, Becky Lynch's finisher is a variation of the armbar, and she yanks on that thing. Asuka was doing it for a while, and she was doing a legitimate armbar. So why the person who actually knows how to do an armbar, the person who is doing it in UFC, you make her do this variation where the arm is still bent, and it doesn't look like she's applying any pressure at all. It was dumb, like whatever. But that's nitpicking, as we like to say with that next. It's very nitpicking of everything that Ronda Rousey's doing.
Yeah, I mean, she still had some really great moments throughout the year, some great matches. I still kind of shake and tremble when I hear that promo that she has with Nikki Bella, where she talks about, knocking down the doors, and then she makes the comment of Nikki Bella only knocking down the door to John Cena's bedroom, and say like, and you got thrown out of that exact same door. I'm literally just like, damn, that's still my favorite promo probably of the year.
She ripped her for that.
It was, and then to follow it up, Nikki Bella had the better promo the following week. I'm willing to give credit where credit is due. So, Ant, if you think that I hate Nikki Bella, I don't, for two reasons. One, because of a few years ago, and two, because of that promo that she did before Evolution. It was one of those promos.
Ronda's making girls step up. And it's not because Ronda is this legendary sports entertainer or a professional wrestler. It's because her name carries weight. And you know that when you're in something with Ronda Rousey, you have to step up because all the eyes are going to be on you. I know a lot of people don't watch Total Divas, and I'm in and out, right? But I did watch the last episode because it had the thing with Natty's dad and stuff like that with Jim Nava and Neidhart. And during that episode, before they did the Jim Nava and Neidhart stuff, they had Nia Jax talking about Rousey and how much of a big deal this was, right? So it's like, and seeing how, like, no, all the eyes are on me. Like, if I mess up, everyone's going to know. So, like, it puts an added pressure, and I think that, Nikki Bella probably felt that and was like, no, I have to deliver the best promo of my career because it's going to be on ESPN and, Fox Sports and all these news stations. So that's why I think Rousey's great for wrestling right now.
Oh, definitely, definitely. Also, can we talk about how an amazing year Seth Rollins has had this year?
He's had a great year now, and I will say this. I said it during the Golden Mike Awards. I'm not the biggest Seth Rollins fan, but he's had an incredible year. He went from people really not caring. Like, people are Seth Rollins fans, right? Let me just say that. But, he wasn't, like, universally loved, where it was like his music comes out and people go absolutely ballistic. They added the Burn It Down and all that stuff, and by the end we're going into 2019 and people were like, no, he needs to be the one to beat Brock, like only him. And Roman Reigns being gone for however long he's gonna end up being gone for, we need somebody to step up and be the face of the company. A lot of people think it has potential to be other people. I thought maybe Braun Strowman, but it looks like it's gonna be Seth.
Honestly, with all the rumors escalating about, what they're going to do with the main event, whether it's going to be Braun versus Drew or Brock versus Seth, honestly, it's one of those situations where I think, why not just do the best? Why not make that Universal Championship, very prestigious and put everybody in there? Why not just do that? You got, a monster in Braun who there's still some fans that are just like, oh, we want to see him as the champ. We want to see him as the champ. You got Drew McIntyre, who is legitimately one of the hottest hottest wrestlers on Raw right now due to his character as well as his wrestling style. You got Seth Rollins, who is Seth freaking Rollins, and coming off one of the best years of his career. And then you have, Brock Lesnar, who is the favorite of Demon Diva, and, he's there to create somewhat some good match. I'm trying my hardest to give justice to Brock Lesnar, okay? I'm sorry, Diva, but it's hard. And he's on his second reign as Universal Champion, and this is one I hate more than the first run. I'm sorry. I just hate it. It's like, why put it back on him if we're getting the same crap over and over again?
Because they got to build the next guy. They can't, with Roman being out, you got to build the next guy. And for whatever reason, they didn't think it was Braun. They didn't think Braun was ready. But, I think that, in all honesty, you got to give it to Seth. You give it to someone the fans want. Give it to someone who is the workhorse of the company with the IC belt and the tag team belts and all that stuff. Give it to him, and then we start anew. Do everything that you were going to do with Roman, just do it with Seth. And then maybe Seth puts over McIntyre or Balor, or AJ Styles comes over to Raw next year, puts him over, at least in the sense on Raw, right? Because, AJ Styles is over. No one needs to put him over. Mm-hmm. But, the Universal title has become the title of the company, the number one title. So it's like, give it to Seth, people will be happy, your company will be happy, everyone will be happy.
No, I can definitely agree with that. I just wish that they would go about, making the top guy a different way instead of just doing copy paste kind of deal. That's just
true.
my opinion. And I will say there is one silver lining to this, that even though people are going to say, "Oh, Brock Lesnar, he's the longest reigning champion of the modern era," BS. His name is Pete Dunne. He's the UK champion. That's a championship that definitely needs more notoriety. And please, let him hold the title for 2 years. Then after that, he can lose it to Tyler Bate again. He can lose it to somebody else in the UK.
He's going to lose it to Joe Coffey, the Iron King Joe Coffey. All right, because that's my boy, and that's who I want to see win that belt.
It could definitely happen. I know that the first ever UK takeover show is going to be coming up in January. So for those of you that have another reason to be hyped up for January, there you go. We got your Wrestle Kingdom. We got Takeover UK. We've got Royal Rumble already. January starting to shape up into something fantastic. But again, Pete Dunne is one of those guys who is a workhorse in WWE that does not get the credit that he definitely does. And Jesus Christ, you look at the matches that he's had with Adam Cole and with Roderick Strong, and most notably his feud with Ricochet. Absolutely loved it. That title versus title match was just a barn burner. Yeah, the finish was dumb, but it's like, just appreciate the ride, the match in there. Would you rather have, these guys still hold their championships, or would you rather get that clean result right now? And
plus, the way that Pete Dunne, like you said, the way he's been booked is, his popularity alone gave WWE the, I can't think of the word. It gave them the, whatever. It gave them the ability to start NXT UK, and really the confidence. It gave him the confidence to start it, right? Because Tyler Bate, great champion, right? An unbelievable wrestler, one of the best guys they have on the roster, but he didn't connect with the fans the way that Pete Dunne is connecting, right? Pete Dunne connects even with the US crowd the same way he connects with the UK crowd, which is huge, right? And I think that's why they were able to start NXT UK the way that they did, because he's the face of that brand, and like you said, he's the longest reigning champion currently in all of pro wrestling. So, my thing is, I think Pete Dunne loses that belt eventually to put someone else over, and I think that with his popularity, he goes over to NXT and maybe wins the NXT championship.
Ooh, now that is a sight I'd love to see. Yeah, that. Oh gosh, now I just want that. I want Ciampa versus Dunne now. That's just beautiful.
It'd be great.
Hey, does that do anything for your Ladywood, ladies and gentlemen? It does a lot for me. Holy cow.
You were talking about Drew McIntyre, so my Ladywood was already out.
Honestly, yeah, let's talk about Drew. I got the chance to interview him a few years ago when he was working with Impact Wrestling. I think it was actually a few months before he would become the champion. And it was really cool to listen in on, the stories that he had, and the fact that he harbored no, illness to WWE for how he was done. He actually took every single opportunity as that. He took it as an opportunity to really create himself. And then when he came back, he became one of the most legit badasses in WWE right now, and one of the most talked about stars in WWE right now. His feuds alone with Rollins and Ambrose, and even his feud with Ziggler. A lot of people are just like, it's just really dumb. It's not going to really do anything. For me, it doesn't matter. We get to see Drew McIntyre be a badass, and we get to literally see him almost kill Dolph Ziggler, which technically he does almost by himself, but that's just me.
Well, I mean, Drew is the best case of what WWE wants wrestlers to do. It's like, yeah, you were given this opportunity, it didn't work out, so you leave the company and you make yourself better, and then you come back. WWE has never, really kept their feelings a secret. They don't hold it against you, right? I guarantee you, if CM Punk, was like, I want to come back, they would work with him again, right? They did it with Bischoff. They've done it with everybody. So the fact that McIntyre was able to go out there, make himself a better wrestler, and then come back is awesome. You see this dude walk around, and I got a chance to meet him, a year and a half ago at the NXT TakeOver Brooklyn 3. And the dude carries himself like a star. He looks like a star. He's like, 6'5" or something like that? He's a big guy. So it's like, he looks like a star. He carries himself like a star. He's very nice to fans, very awesome with fans. And then he's a great wrestler on top of that. So he's definitely somebody that, if they're looking for someone to replace a Roman Reigns, because in all actuality, that's what they are, right? McIntyre would be great. And he's from the UK, so it's like, it all works out.
He'd be a great international flavor that a lot of people would really like to see. I agree. And I will say this, for all the flack that I can definitely give, your gal, Carmella, I will say that it has been a pretty good year for her, and she definitely is one of those wrestlers that really can find a way to be a great heel, but just such a better babyface. That's just my opinion of it, is that, just as soon as, she lost the belt, as soon as she got done with the feud there, they decide, we don't really have anything for you. How do you feel about pairing with R-Truth? She was probably like, well, I mean, okay, we'll see what happens. And I guess she seems like she's just having the time of her life, just doing all these kind of, funny skits and sketches with R-Truth. The whole dance break deals are just absolutely hilarious, and it paid off.
They gave her the opportunity to show her personality as a heel, right? It wasn't perfect. I hated when she would scream. I hate that in the moment of her winning the Money in the Bank. It's her screaming at the ref, at Kyoto. I don't know what took Kyoto so long to catch it. That's a different story.
Delayed reaction.
it was able, in her being a great heel, it gave her the opportunity to be more comfortable with her showing her personality on camera. And now that we know her personality, we know she's extra, we know she's over the top. Now that she does it as a babyface, we find it entertaining, right? Oh, of course she's doing dance breaks during matches. It works out. It makes sense for her character. And it's crazy to think that the girl who was just the manager of Enzo and Cass is now the only one in the company and the only one who's successful, which is crazy to see how far she's come and how far she's grown, because she busts her ass and she works like everybody else on the roster who's busting their ass. She's just the one that was lucky enough to break through last year, or this year, I should say. So I love Carmella. That's why I'm a huge fan of hers. If you guys want to see a little bit, go I know WWE did this is my daughter's a WWE superstar with her and her dad. If you watch that and still are not at least a fan of her as a person, then I don't know what else is going to do it for you guys.
No, I really do like when they do those kind of deals where they just, kind of try to take some of the personal sides of, of WWE stars and just show that, hey, we're still human beings. Hey, we still got, families that we're leaving behind. But also we get to hear from, families about how proud they are of how their, their daughter or their granddaughter or whoever that may be, is successful and at the place that they are, and just seeing, the joy and adulation that they have, even when they show, the whole deals, whenever they do stuff with The Miz is another star I'll definitely want to talk about. Whenever they have, the Miz's parents just show up on a Raw or on a SmackDown, it always just seems like, they have a lot of, just joy on their faces. It's yep, that's our boy on TV. Maybe there's also a point where it's kind of plastered on because they've seen their kid on TV so many times, but it's just always really cool to see them just, having a fun time watching their, son perform, and always just having that moment of yeah, we're proud of our kid.
That's the cool thing about wrestling, right? And that's why I think pro wrestling is the best source of entertainment out there. And I honestly really truly think that, because, you think of it being a right smack in the middle of being a pro athlete and being an actor, right? And because, Grant Gustin plays the Flash on TV, but his parents aren't going to be in an episode of The Flash going, oh, there's my son, Grant Gustin, playing The Flash. I'm so proud of him. But then you'll get to see that with pro athletes, right? You know, LeBron James' mom will sit front row and say that. But, you know, with the WWE wrestlers, like, you can say, oh, I'm proud of my son, The Miz, right? They don't have to say his name. That's still their son. And yeah, he's playing a character and stuff like that, but they can still be proud of him. You know, Bayley's family, whenever they're in San Jose, they're always sitting in the front row, whether her daughter is there or not. And they always, you know, reference that in commentary and stuff like that. So it's one of those cool things where we can kind of play both worlds, both actor and kind of entertainer or athlete. And that's what's so great about wrestling.
Yeah, you don't really see Izzy too much on the Raw anymore. And she was always like the biggest Bayley fan for.
Izzy's awesome, though. Izzy and her family are so awesome.
This is very true. Shout out to Izzy and Izzy's family. So,
that's the thing. Like,
we
have this new generation of fans, and you know, Izzy being kind of at the forefront of that, right? Where a lot of younger female fans, and that's awesome, and that. They're able to do that because even though they are playing a character, Bayley, that's not her real name, she's playing the Bayley character, but it works so much that fans want to come out and support her like she was a real athlete, like she was a professional athlete, right? You want to wear LeBron James' jersey if you're a Laker fan. You want to wear Bayley's shirt if you're a wrestling fan, and that's your favorite wrestler. So it's the beautiful world that pro wrestling is able to create for fans.
Definitely. Speaking of the beautiful world of professional wrestling, did you ever think that we would go into 2019 with the possibility of Miz and Daniel Bryan fighting against each other at WrestleMania, with them having opposite roles, where the
Never.
Miz might be the babyface and Bryan might be the heel?
Never. And you know, I've said this on Rant with Ant. I didn't like Daniel Bryan's heel turn at first, but it makes sense, right? It makes sense. Plus, if you look on the roster, most of the better wrestlers right now are baby faces. So it's like you want to see Daniel Bryan fight Finn Balor and Seth Rollins and, you know, AJ Styles like we got. It's like you want to see him fight these guys. Gargano if he comes up, right? Aleister Black. These are all baby faces in reality. So it's like you turn Bryan heel and you let him fight people. I think the craziest thing of the whole thing is that Miz is baby face again, because his first run as a baby face was an absolute disaster and something he almost didn't come back from. And he had to wait all those years and that one promo on Talking Smack where he was a heel to come back and be super popular. So it is crazy to think that we might be going into WrestleMania with them going against each other like all of us predicted, but with different roles. That's unbelievable to me.
It is going to be very interesting to see how they build that up, especially after what happened on SmackDown this past week, where now apparently we got the best tag team in the world. Nope, it's not Charlie Haas and Shelton Benjamin. It's The Miz and Shane McMahon, ladies and gentlemen.
You think Shelton was backstage looking at the monitor like, why'd I come back?
I mean,
can I just be a coach at the Performance Center? That's what if I was him, I'd be like, dude, can I just go coach at the Performance Center, please?
I would think that'd be a perfect role for him. And, I mean, at least he showed up on TV. He gave Mustafa Ali some props. He said, like, hey, on behalf of everybody on SmackDown, welcome to the brand. I thought that was kind of cool, where it's like, wow.
It's awesome.
It's kind of like a passing of the torch. And then Daniel Bryan had to go and ruin it.
Yeah. Undertaker, John Cena got Undertaker. Mustafa Ali got Shawn Benjamin.
Perfect comparison. Oh, my gosh. So easy to say that as far as NXT goes, Ciampa, Gargano, feud of the year?
Oh, absolutely. I think that their feud has been like the feud of the last 2 years. And I know Omega Okada was great and Omega Cody was awesome, but I think that where this feud keeps taking these crazy turns that are awesome but are super unexpected. Like, who would have thought at the end of this year that it would be Ciampa still as the champion, right? But Gargano not going against him, but kind of teaming with him a little bit. Like, that's something I never thought I would want to see, but it's here now and I'm loving it.
They really made that perfect how they did that whole that whole deal, because it was more of just one of those situations where it was like the perfect set of circumstances. It was the perfect ingredients, the perfect storm to happen at the right time. Everything just flowed nicely. Everything just worked out perfectly. It was just one of those things where it's like, well, we both hate Aleister Black, so let's just cave his face in. Boom.
Exactly.
Just get that DIY.
And it leaves room for Johnny to still be the face going against Ciampa.
It really does. It's really bizarre to see that, because I think a lot of people are saying, like, no, he's a heel. It's like, not exactly, because you kind of understand where Gargano's coming from. It's just, it's kind of weird, because some people are just like, we gotta be cheering for Aleister. It's like, I don't know. I'm still in favor of Gargano because I kind of get where he's coming from. I get where Alistair's coming from. I get where Gargano's coming from. Ciampa, well, he's just a major dick right at this point.
And Gargano is letting himself. Gargano's turning into Batman, basically, which is the sense of he's letting the evil consume him so he can control it, so he can take out the ultimate evil, which is Ciampa. If that means he has to, stab everybody else in the back on the way to getting to Tommaso, he's willing to do that, and that's what makes their feud in that story so incredible right now.
Speaking of dicks, I know this is like a poor segue to do this. When you guys do the 5th annual Golden Mike Awards for next year, can I make a suggestion that you guys add a category for biggest dick of the year, paying homage to Joey Ryan?
You mean famous dick wrestler Joey Ryan?
the famous dick wrestler Joey Ryan Award. Just
we gotta do that. I'm sure Ant would love saying that another 5,000 times like we've been saying the last couple of weeks.
Oh man, it's one of those things where I don't think I've ever seen Issa break as badly as right with that, just saying that phrase of the biggest dick in professional wrestling today, Joey Ryan. Just oh my gosh. If only we could make that into a sign. Honestly, they're not going
to make that a category next year.
Oh my gosh. I will tune into that and I will vote every single time. I would want that to have oh man, there's about almost 100,000 votes. Yeah, about 900,000 were done by me because I love this category. Just, oh my gosh. Honestly, let me put it let's do it like this. If you were to pick anybody who would win that award this year, who would you probably pick?
Biggest dick award. Now we're talking a heel doing their job or someone I don't personally like.
Let's just do a heel doing their job. Let's just go down that road.
I think Cody Rhodes is incredible at being a bad guy, even when he's a good guy, right? Even when he's a good guy, he's still kind of arrogant, right? And that, he lets him tiptoe that line, because going in the final battle, after All In, Cody Rhodes was a great guy. Everybody loved Cody Rhodes. Oh, Cody Rhodes is the best NWA champion. We're fans of his. Then going into final battle, he was like, nah, I'm still a bad guy. I'm still the heel that you need me to be so we can get you to cheer for the baby face, which was Jay Lethal in that match, right? And I think that Cody Rhodes has mastered the ability of being an arrogant fuck, and that's what makes him so awesome to watch.
Who's this Jay Lethal that you refer to? I only know Black Machismo, so...
Oh, yeah, I'm talking about Black Machismo, the good side of Jay Lethal.
Oh my gosh, that match was just awesome. But yeah, I got the chance to even talk to Jay Lethal a little bit, and I even did my best Macho Man impression. He just yucked it up. He loved it. It was an awesome deal. And little did I know that was going to be the route that he was going down to. Maybe that was the reason why he was laughing. Was that?
Yeah, he started laughing oh boy, you don't know what's coming.
You probably did. It was probably the case. So if I had to pick anybody for that award, I probably would have to go with Samoa Joe because oh my god, this year alone. You look at the moments that stand out as far as really great heel work and just one of those things where it's oh god, this guy is such a bastard. You got to go Samoa Joe, whether it's him doing the "Oh Wendy" or him doing the public service announcement of of the dangers of alcohol. It's just one of those things where it's God, he hasn't lost a step since leaving Impact Wrestling. This is the Samoa Joe I remembered when he first came onto TNA, and then he went on to just do better things with in TNA, and now he's doing this in WWE. Totally okay with this, even though it's at the expense of some people. I don't care. It's Samoa Joe. Everybody understands how I feel about him.
He's so awesome, and he's the heel that the company needs right now. He's the heel that will get their baby faces over even more because he's so convincing as a heel, right? In the Jeff Hardy promo, like you said, or in the stuff with AJ Styles, he gets you to damn, I kind of feel bad. I'm not the biggest fan of AJ, right? Other than he's an incredible wrestler, he bores me in all honesty. But his personality does, not his matches. But it's just Samoa Joe got me being damn, I feel bad for AJ. The story that he's telling, I feel bad for AJ, and I want to see AJ win.
Or you just want to see AJ just beat the ever-living piss out of Samoa Joe, which was what we got at SummerSlam when he just made the comment to Wendy. He's don't worry, Daddy's coming home. But it ain't gonna be him.
Oh, it's gonna be
me. Oh my god. It was one of those moments where it's oh my god. AJ, please just kill this person right now. Just kill Samoa Joe. Just please. It's one of those things where it's I don't even care if it ended on DQ. It ended the way it should have ended, which was just AJ Styles losing his cool. And it's one of those things where it's understandable. he lost his cool because Samoa Joe just kept pushing his buttons. I just hate the fact that his daughter had to see her dad, all
that
bloodied
was
up
like
in
the
this.
most heartbreaking thing ever.
Oh,
like when she
God.
got scared of him because he was bleeding.
That really, again, drove a stake in my heart where it's like, oh gosh, no. Oh, this poor kid, just seeing AJ looking like this. Like so many people have definitely said, it's like, so like she just like in AJ's arms, she's like, no, I want to go back to mommy. I want to go back to mommy. I'm scared of daddy now.
Exactly, I'm scared of him because he's bleeding everywhere.
Oh my gosh, I can only imagine what gift AJ had to give her in order to, mend that fence or just build that bridge back up. Because
I mean, he bought like an $800 system in Japan. I don't know if you watch Up Up Down Down. So I think he got her something pretty nice.
Yeah, I think that's really safe to say at this point. So let's talk about. Definitely, a lot of people have learned about your guys' show, Rant with That. You talk a lot about the history that you've had with Anthony, but obviously, I don't think very many people know the genesis of the Who Got Next podcast. So how did this all come about? And what keeps it, so fresh, I guess we could say?
Well, so me and Ant met Nick at a autograph signing for Shinsuke Nakamura a while ago, like a year and a half ago. Almost
Back when he was relevant, I got it.
yeah. When he was in NXT and he was a champion. So I think that the crazy thing in me and Ant's world, and even I guess in Ant's world, because I met Ant, is we meet people randomly. We meet them at events. We'll meet them, through Twitter or whatever, and then they end up becoming, very close friends with us, right? And Nick was no different. Me and Nick were always the two who loved NXT. Nick's favorite wrestlers are Gargano and Ciampa right now, so of course he absolutely loves NXT, and he credits Sami Zayn of trying to, like, really getting him to fall in love with NXT. And, I did a show called Comically Nerdy, and that took up a lot of my time. And when that show kind of went away because my co-host moved, I had an opportunity to do other shows, and I really wanted to do an NXT show because, with Ant, there's so much to talk about with the main roster and stuff that's outside of the company. It didn't leave us a lot of time to talk about NXT. Plus, Issa and G-Rod didn't really watch NXT the way that I did. So, talking to Nick, we would text all the time about it, and that evolved into us doing Who Got Next. And, now with bringing MJ in, we're very excited to kind of shine a light on NXT weekly, right? Because everybody knows how great the takeovers are. We all watch the takeovers. We all go to the events at these WWE weekends, right? Especially Mania weekends. But people stop watching after the takeovers. But you get some incredible matches on the live TV that air every week. Like, we got Gargano versus Black in a cage match on NXT TV. So it's like we want to kind of shed a light on that, and now with NXT UK, we want to kind of do the same thing. And it's my favorite thing to do all week because NXT is my favorite wrestling to watch all week.
Oh gosh, it is definitely one of those things that I need to really start watching again. I think one of the first few times I've ever watched NXT was a few weeks ago, because I watched 205 Live, then NXT, and I didn't get a chance to watch NXT UK because I had to get ready for work. But yeah, that was still like the best 2 hours because 205 Live definitely stepped up its game since even last year. NXT always seems like it never misses a step, especially when you got Ricochet versus Tyler Breeze. Oh my God, that was awesome.
But that's the thing with NXT, right? What's our biggest issue as wrestling fans, right? Our biggest issue right now is we're tired of seeing the same thing. The entire system that NXT is based on, we will never see the same thing because as soon as someone gets super popular, they get called up, which means there's another spot for someone else. When Gargano and Ciampa get called up, there's other people that are ready to take their place. The Matt Riddles of the world, the Keith Lees. Like, those guys are just in wait to get moved to that bigger spot. And then someone will take their spot. Maybe Punishment and Dijak will step into the Riddle and Keith Lee role that they're in right now. And that's what makes NXT so good. And that's what they're trying to build with NXT UK. And it's all right that you didn't watch it. It's fine, right? It's watching 2 hours that are aired on the same day but are completely different shows. It's very hard to get through, but I think once we get to take over Blackpool, that it'll kind of round itself out, and then you'll be able to fall in love with the characters similar to the way that, me, Nick, and MJ do every week, which is covering the show.
Definitely. Oh, speaking of MJ, I actually have a special message from MJ to you, Mr. Phil, and that is, and I quote, Jeff Hardy is awesome, and also Lacey Evans sucks.
Well, MJ's great at a lot of things. She can't be great at everything. So there's her flaw right there. We all have our flaws.
and also, wasn't MJ the one that you forgot to mention on the Golden Mike Awards the other night?
Probably. We do these award shows at night. All our recordings done at night, and I usually work at 3 a.m. the next day, so I'm like half delirious. We're going. So if I forgot MJ, I'm sorry. But I'm not sorry because you like Jeff Hardy, so it kind of evens itself out.
Oh my gosh. Oh man. Yeah, if you guys haven't got a chance, definitely listen into the interview that I had with MJ, as well as the interview that she has with Ant during the series of This Is Me. It is just absolutely awesome. Definitely must listen to. And also you can listen to her as well as Nick, as well as Phil on the Who Got Next podcast. It is really awesome to listen to these guys. They talk a lot about NXT and they give it due justice. I will say this, that I do love the fact that Nick tries to squeeze in the, Star Wars references with the Gargano and Ciampa deal. It's kind of those things where
I give you as much nerd stuff as we possibly can.
I mean, it works. It's one of those things where he convinces me so much where it's like, no, this is exactly how it is. This is exactly how it is. It's like, okay, now I can kind of see it. I mean, it's not...
Nicky Dirt Sheets is what I call him because someone must be telling him these fucking things because this dude called this entire Gargano Ciampa thing in Philly. He sat down and told me what he think they should do, and they've been doing it. So it's unbelievable to me to see this happening still, the way Nick said it was going to.
It's absolutely crazy because whenever you have that moment where you just decide, you know what, this is how I kind of fantasy book, and then it actually happens, like, we need to pay attention to the fact that I said this a long time ago, so props to Nick again for
I know Nick wants to be like a broadcaster, but like maybe he should apply to the creative writer thing that WWE just put on Twitter the other day.
Oh my gosh, those creative writer guys just need to really learn to just say like, hey, this is what we want to do. This is kind of what we think should happen, instead of just being, the yes man to Vince, like, oh, you're right, that idea is better, that idea is better. It's like, I'm sorry, Vince, but you're still kind of the out of touch old man that a lot of people have been saying, and I'm going to be joining on that bandwagon. We need new things, and the Authority coming on every single show is not the way to do it. Also, you fired Paige. I hate you. That just
it's rough. That was the one thing of hey, we're going to do something new. Cool, we're really happy, but Paige is not GM no more. Like, well, hold on a second. We didn't have to do everything new, right? Paige is awesome. Like, of all the GMs we've ever had in my memory, Paige has been the best one because there's no worry about her actually wrestling, right? She's just there to be awesome. And, like, we all love Paige. I miss her in the ring, and I hope they do something with her. Her movie's coming out soon. I hope she doesn't go anywhere. I know Shane was like, she's not going anywhere, but they haven't announced what else she's doing. So it's like, give her something.
This is very true. Honestly, there's been rumors about her possibly being a broadcaster on SmackDown, which would be interesting. Honestly, I think it would be kind of cool to see how like the dual branded pay-per-views would be, having Renee on Raw's side and Paige on the SmackDown side.
Or make her a manager. Why? What is with WWE and the loss of make people managers? Like, all right, Lana isn't the best wrestler in the world, but she's an entertaining character, right? Mm-hmm. I'm a big Lana fan, so it's like I love Lana as a manager. We'll get to see her wrestle here and there, but I want to see her as a manager. Paige can't physically wrestle. Make her somebody's manager because Paige can talk on the mic, and Paige has this certain, experience and this clout with her that she can really build a wrestler. Send Paige to the UK. I don't know if she wants to go or not, but send Paige to the UK and let her be a manager for someone over there. Like, that'd be awesome.
Oh, jeez. Her managing, like, Tony Storm or Rhea Ripley just has me sold already. That would be amazing.
How about her managing Marcel Berthal? Do you know who that guy is?
I've heard of him, but I don't think I've seen...
He looks awesome. He looks incredible. He's a really good wrestler. He wrestled Keith Lee and I think Matt Riddle on NXT TV. But, like, he's over there and he's great. Have Paige manage him. He doesn't seem like he can talk on the mic, so have Paige help him out. Have Paige help out these superstars who need the help. Why not?
Yeah, as long as it's not Paige and Lars Sullivan, I think we'll be good.
Oh my god. I don't think Paige needs front row seats to Mania, so she'll probably stay away from Lars.
That sounds about right. Oh my gosh. Alright, so this is about the part of the show where I actually do cheap plugs, and I let you guys plug in, whatever you have. So, Mr. Phil, where can people find you, and how can they interact with you on social media? And also, please, by all means, talk about what podcasts you do and what you got coming on for 2019 so far.
So if you guys want to follow me on social media, it's at Phillium RWA. We could talk wrestling. We could talk comic book movies. You can just yell at me because I have bad takes. Whatever you want to do, it's all up in the air. We have a lot of fun on social media. It's a great time. I am a part of two shows, one being the podcast of the year for 2018. That is Rant with Ant. If you guys want to follow that show on all social media platforms, it's at Rant with Ant. Search Rant with Ant in YouTube, because I just put out this great recap video recapping our entire 2018. So make sure you go up there, like, subscribe, do all the stuff that you do on YouTube. Second, I'm on a show called Who Got Next with me, Nick, and MJ. That airs on Thursday. Ends on Friday on the Rant with Ant Network. Rant with Ant airs Saturday. So make sure you guys subscribe on iTunes, Google Play, and or Stitcher to never miss a show, because we have a lot of fun things. And the way 2019 looks is going to be absolutely incredible. The Thursday before Wrestlemania, we are planning on something huge. We cannot release what that is yet, but trust me, very, very soon we will. And the entire Rant with Ant team will be there in New York, because we are all local for Wrestlemania. And the way it's looking now, me and Issa will be traveling to Toronto for SummerSlam. So keep your eyes peeled for all of this great stuff that Rant with Ant has next year.
Wow, that sounds like quite an eventful year so far. I'm looking forward to seeing how this goes, you guys. So you definitely know where to find me on Twitter at RealFNGame. You definitely know how to follow us on Facebook, as well as look us up on Spreaker.com, iTunes, as well as iHeartRadio and YouTube. So, Mr. Phil, thank you so much for your time, and thank you so much for being a part of this episode, and I should have said this off the bat, my last guest for 2018, definitely ending on a major high note.
Well, thank you for having me on. You always say some incredibly nice words about us. I know you put out a tweet in your podcast the other day talking about us. Thank you for showcasing MJ. I give her a lot of shit, but she's like a sister to me. Thank you for doing that. And having Ant on and all the stuff. Like, you're one of the best people that we know in this community, so I'm very proud of everything that you're doing. And, again, thank you for having me on. And for having me be the last guest of the year. That's awesome.
Yeah, definitely. So with that, guys, for Phil, I've been Nate the Effing Great. This has been The Game Changer, and we will talk to you. Well, hold the phone. I do have one more piece of business I do have to take care of, and that does indeed include you, Mr. Phil. That is, simply put, that I've gotten the chance to, do these prediction battles with Kings of the Ring podcast, and honestly, guys, I feel pretty confident right now. I'm still waiting for the rematch that I issued out to them for Royal Rumble. So after I beat them at Royal Rumble, if they do accept, I definitely do need something more to handle in the WrestleMania season build-up. So what I'm proposing, Mr. Phil, is that you go back to the Rant with Ant podcast and you deliver a message to them from me stating that I'm challenging all three of you, Mr. Phil, Issa, and Rant with Ant, to prediction battles separately on the build-up to WrestleMania. So
Let's do it.
Phil,
I never back away from a challenge. Let's make WrestleMania fun, right? We're all going to be sitting in that crowd for about 27 hours. Let's make it worth it.
So here's how I got it all laid out. So, Phil, it'll be you and me in a prediction battle one-on-one at the Elimination Chamber event. You tell Issa that I challenge her, even though she has not responded to my challenges in a while. Maybe if you be the advocate or kind of the messenger boy, maybe that'll get the point across.
She's a very busy woman, man.
This is also very true.
Brock Lesnar's only fan is hard work.
Yeah, just let her know that I challenge her to a prediction battle at Fastlane. I'm surprised that is still around. And you definitely tell Mr. Ant that on the grandest stage of them all, WrestleMania, Game Changer, Rant with Ant, one-on-one in the prediction battle to end all prediction battles.
Let's do it.
All right, awesome. So, good sir, I will definitely see you in the build-up to Elimination Chamber. Hopefully, it's going to be better than just, what was it, like the 2 weeks that we had? No, that was 2 years ago. That was when we had like the Cena 16 title run, and then they decided 2 weeks later, nope, we're giving it to Bray. Yes! I'm okay with this. All right, so now on a serious note, guys. So for Mr. Phil, I've been Nate the Effing Great. This has been The Game Changer. Definitely check them out. Check out Rant with Ant. They do a lot of incredible stuff. And definitely check out all the other podcasts that they are a part with and they have partnered with on Wrestle Addict Radio. So have a good one, guys, and Happy New Year to most of you. Bye-bye.